Of all the events I've been doing, this is truly the one I've looked forward to most. I don't think the Yale community appreciates the incredible gem that it has here in the Globalization Center that Nayan Chanda and Ernesto Zedillo have put together. The Yale Global website has been a constant source of insight and information for me. So there's really nowhere more that I would like to, begin talking about this book than at an event hosted by Ernesto and Nayan. And my daughter also goes to school here. So, my interest in that column really oscillated between kind of Lexis issues of technology from one theme to the other, right up till September 11th, 2001, at which point I really dropped the globalization theme like a stone and really went off and covered the 9/11 wars. Really from September 11th on, I spent my whole time in the Arab Muslim world, trying to really understand the roots of 9/11 and the impact of our response to it. And I took one trip, I think, during those 3 years to Silicon Valley. I went out to visit a startup company that some friends of mine were involved in. It's something called Google. And I did exactly one column about Google and went back to Kabul, basically, kind of metaphorically. And I realized I'd sort of lost the thread of the globalization story. Anyways, during this 3-year period, I started doing documentaries for the Discovery Channel, And Nandan's an old friend, we were sitting on the couch outside his office, and before the camera started, he said, "Tom, I've got to tell you, the global economic playing field is being leveled, leveled. And you Americans, you're not ready." Oh, I wrote that down in my notebook. The global playing field is being leveled. And I just kept rolling over in my head what Nandan had said. The playing field is being leveled. What he's telling me is that the playing field is being flattened. Oh my God. He's telling me the world is flat. And he's citing this as a great advance in human development, that we'd made the world flat. That evening, I got on the phone, I called my wife from Bangalore, and I said, "Honey, I'm going to write a book called The World is Flat. The World is Flat. The World is Flat." She thought I had completely lost my mind. But I came home from that trip. I called the publisher of the New York Times, Mr. Salzberger, and I said, "Arthur, I have to go on leave immediately because my framework on globalization, which I laid out in Lexis and the Olive Tree, needs updating. And if I don't do that, I'm going to write something really stupid in the New York Times." And so and the book begins by me noting that Christopher Columbus actually set sail in 1492 looking for a shorter route to India. That's where Columbus was going. He sailed west. He had the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. He never did find India, but he called the people he met Indians. And we still call them that to this day. And he came home and told his wife, "Honey, I've accidentally discovered the world is round." I set off for India 512 years later. I knew just which direction I was going. I went east. I had Lufthansa business class and a GPS satellite that popped up in my seat. And I came home and reported to my wife, "Honey, I've accidentally discovered the world is flat. The world is flat. The world is flat." And what this first chapter is about is all the encounters I had first in India, but then beyond. I went to Dalian, China, the outsourcing capital of Japan now. Tens of thousands of Japanese-speaking Chinese. Get your mind around that in light of the recent headlines out of China, okay? Tens of thousands of Japanese-speaking Chinese managing the bookkeeping and back room now for hundreds of Japanese multinationals and American multinationals formerly based in Tokyo, and drove down their error rate by a significant degree. This is just a beginning program. It's not everywhere. But I kept bumping into these flattening experiences, flattening experiences, flattening experiences. While you were sleeping, while I was sleeping, we entered globalization 3.0 from 2000 to the present. That's why the book is called The World is Flat, A Brief History of the 21st Century. And this era, this globalization 3.0, is shrinking the world from size small to size tiny and flattening the playing field at the same time. And flattening the playing field at the same time. It ain't going to be a bunch of white Western individuals who dominated globalization 1.0 and 2.0. It's going to be individuals of every color of the rainbow who are going to be able to plug and play. So that's really kind of the meta theme of the book. The second chapter, and I'm just going to do the first three just to give the kind of core thesis, then we can talk more about it. The second chapter of the book, which really took me the longest time, is called The 10 Days That Flattened the World. 10 Days That Flattened the World. 10 Days That Flattened the World. And it's about the 10 really days, events, technologies, and companies that came together to actually create this level playing field, this level playing field, this level playing field. And let me go through them for you quickly. The first date is and the fall of the Berlin Wall was a huge flattener. I call these the 10 flatteners because it allowed us to actually see and think of the world as a single flat plane, as a single flat plane. So the fall of the wall was hugely important perceptually for how people could think of the world as a single seamless space. We suddenly had a single graphical user interface with universal application. So that was the first flattener. The second flattener, which I consider to be one of the most important days in our lifetime and in the lifetime of this planet, of equal importance to 11/9, is 8/9/95. August 9th, 1995 is the day a small startup company in Mountain View, California called Netscape went public. And Netscape going public was a huge flattener. Which triggered the accidental overinvestment of $1 trillion in fiber optic cable in 5 years without anyone realizing what had happened. It so drove down the cost of transmitting voice and words and data over fiber optic lines that it basically made it free. And that had a huge leveling effect. Had a huge leveling effect. Everyone's applications could connect with everyone else's applications, which meant suddenly people could work together in manifold new ways. So now we come to the genesis moment of the flat world, flat world. When you take the Netscape moment, you bring people to people together like never before. I argue are the 6 new forms of collaboration that sprung from this platform and flattened the world even more. The first started to work together. And that, friends, is what I argue, flattened the world, flattened the world, flattened the world. That is what flattened the world, because the product of that first convergence, increasingly, even language. That is the moment when the world got flat, when the world got flat, when the world got flat. When if I'd had I horizontalized myself the night before, I could have gotten the productivity boost. We're just at the beginning of this phenomena, and it's happening in every single industry. But I said that's the second convergence. The third and last convergence is that this flattening happened. This flattening happened. This flattening happened to coincide with a huge event in the world. 3 billion people called Russia, China, and India walking onto the playing field. Walking onto the playing field. To the playing field. To the playing field. And when do they arrive on the playing field? Just when it's been flattened. Just when it's been flattened. Nobody's told the kids. So right at a moment when we have reached an incredible inflection point. We are moving from a world of vertical to horizontal, to horizontal, to horizontal. Nobody's talking about it. We have a president who's trying to unravel the New Deal at a time when what we really need is a New Deal to deal with a world gone flat, a world gone flat, a world gone flat. So right when we've reached this really defining, transforming moment of the beginning of the flattening process, nobody's talking about it. The debate about globalization is so out of date. What you now are about to see is the real IT revolution with what's happened here, with what's happened here, with what's happened here, with what's happened here. So, ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts, put your seat backs and tray tables into a fixed and upright position, because the world is flat. Because the world is flat. Because the world is flat. Thank you very much. What you now are about to see is the real IT revolution with what's happened here.